It's New Year's Day and I'm going out for a bike ride. But why is that so unusual for somebody who produces and presents a YouTube channel all about cycling? I've never been one for New Year's resolutions really, but the idea of the 1st of January shepherded in a new or renewed level of motivation, well, let's just say this time round, January the 1st just couldn't have come quick enough for me. For those of you who don't follow me on Facebook or Twitter and haven't watched my recent videos, just a quick recap on what's been a pretty horrible 6 months for me. Late May, I aggravated a long-standing spine condition called spondylolisthesis to the point where I was in unbearable pain in my back and my left leg. Then followed weeks of failed attempts to alleviate the pain, including a week on morphine. And an MRI scan then revealed the problem was nerve damage in my spine and surgery was required. Then followed weeks of debilitating side effects of the nerve blocking medication called pregabalin, which were actually a miracle for pain relief, but being on too high a dose made me really ill and tired, so I couldn't ride a bike most of the time. Getting down to half the dose of that medication at the request of my surgeon then created similar symptoms as a result of withdrawal from that drug. By the end of September then, pain was bearable and I was feeling well enough to have a go at completing a pre-planned cycle across France over 14 days, which ended up being monumentally difficult considering I'd hardly trained for months and my back, and particularly my left leg, was not happy with too much pressure being put through the left pedal. Films of that epic trip are yet to be made and shown on here. So fast forward now to the end of October and my surgery, which left me with this scaffolding around my spine. Since then, I've had to come off the nerve blockers completely, which once again sent me into withdrawal symptoms. And along with the general recovery of the body being opened up and having somebody rummaging around inside fitting pieces of metal, I felt constantly exhausted and just unwell ever since. It's now 4 weeks since the consultant said I could start cycling, but apart from a couple of false starts when I went on a short ride, I've literally done nothing. I took a break from making videos because I just couldn't concentrate on the editing process, and the weekly deadline of having to get an upload on YouTube was just causing me stress. So that's where I am right now. I planned to ride yesterday to meet my cycling club mates at the cafe they were going to, just doing a shorter ride at a slower pace by myself. But I woke up feeling a bit lousy and found every reason I could muster not to bother. So here I am on that famous magical day, the 1st of January, where everybody's supposed to have a new lease of life with their resolution. But no resolutions from me, just kicking myself up the backside, realising that although I might not be feeling that brilliant, maybe the exercise and a bit of fresh air might actually help matters. Self-motivation is a powerful thing at any time, but with the mind trickery that the date January the 1st provides, it's worth realising that latching on to any kind of trick to get you focused on whatever personal challenge or resolution you have is worth pursuing. Now there's a less energetic way of travel. Happy New Year, mate. Yeah, it certainly is worth getting out. If any of this is of interest to you, I have a previous video, which I'll link at the end of this one, all about self-motivation. And I've taken some of my own advice from this film myself today, which has got me out here at least. One thing I talk about in that video is that when you're feeling the motivation is low, you need to focus on reasons why you started cycling in the first place. Morning. And you. Now, although it wasn't the initial reason for me, one of the reasons I do it is to make videos like this. I've already mentioned that I decided to take a month or so off this YouTube thing, but that was mainly due to the editing process. I have 14 days worth of film to edit and produce about the France trip. Those kind of ride videos take a lot of work to get the final film right. Unfortunately, they also don't get a massive amount of views, but they're keepsakes for me to look back on in my old age as a memory of my adventures, so they're worth spending time on for that reason alone. And if some of you enjoy watching them, then that's great and a fantastic and huge bonus for me. However, filming a quick ride like this and having a chat with you about the subject like I am now is not so difficult to edit. So I thought to myself yesterday, why not get the camera out, stick it on the bike and talk about the very reason that you're sitting around on your backside thinking of excuses not to get out on the bike. How the hell can you possibly be advocating people watch your self-motivation video when you can't even motivate yourself to do the same? So I took my own advice, and it was enough for me to get the camera out of its bag, put it on the bike, and suddenly I felt I had an obligation to go out on a bike ride. Something I do talk about in that video. Another thing I talk about is setting yourself targets, and these can take many forms. And the reality for me is that right now, just getting out on normal 50-mile club bike rides with my mates feels like a stretching target. But I want more than that. And if I kick off this lethargy, I'm confident it won't be long before I'm doing that. As many of you know, I love multi-day events. I'm not in the realms of bikepacking yet, maybe that's something for the future. But as long as there's a van carrying my stuff and feeding me along the way, like we had in France in September, then it's something I really do enjoy. Being sensible then, knowing my level of fitness has dropped massively over the last 6 months, I've targeted myself with a much smaller 3-day trek across Wales with Pedal Britain again, providing the lift and food, and the last weekend of June. Happy New Year! Favourite little walker spot and a nice cafe for a coffee stop when it's open. More than one way of enjoying the canal. Let me introduce you to a local landmark which has actually recently been put on Google Maps and is just labelled there as Cow. Obviously a cycling enthusiast. Now some people have had a bit of fun with it on Google in the reviews section. I drive the longer way home to pass this landmark and it never ceases to inspire awe. I have eagerly recommended this to the people I know and meet. Well worth a day out. And the 5 stars it sports. And then this one here. I consider the Cow to be of significant importance to our parish, if not of national importance. There you go, I've done my bit for local marketing. It's a nice spot. Another thing I talk about on that video is making a commitment to do something with other people and create a pseudo obligation to go on a ride. And to that end, I'm absolutely thrilled that one of my sons, Jamie, who's not a cyclist and would be the first to say he's very unfit, is going to tackle this 3-day event with me. And just by talking about it to other people, I've now got 2 mates giving it a go too. So suddenly, I now have absolutely every reason to get out here and get pedalling again. Jamie lives in Brighton and Hove, doesn't have anyone to cycle with down here, so I want to do whatever I can to encourage him, which will also in turn encourage me. So in March, we've also signed up, along with Andy, my other son, who does cycle, to do a small 60+ mile sportive called the Puncher Sportive, starting and finishing in Ditchling, just a few miles north of Brighton. Riding with my sons is one of the massive joys of cycling for me, so I'm really looking forward to that. And it will all help with the fitness build up for Wales and the motivation to get out here on New Year's Day. Uh-oh, one of the drawbacks of winter cycling. I think we'll let them go first. Scoot around the edge. Doing this ride today and just talking to this camera about this subject is in itself very motivational for me. Probably looks a bit odd to people seeing me talking to the invisible man, but hey, who cares? I talk a lot about cycling with other people in that video, and in a way this is like cycling with other people. I'm cycling with you, I'm talking to you, and as weird as it may seem or sound, it has had that effect. So I'm already planning to restart my Zwift membership when I get home and get the indoor rides going again during the inevitable bad weather that we're going to have over the next couple of months. Not long from home now, and January the 1st has really done it for me this year. If you've stuck with me up to now, then why not look me up on Facebook, or X, formerly known as Twitter of course, or check out my website and blog, obbcycling.com. If, like me, you've lost your cycling mojo, or have never got past thinking about getting on a bike, take a look at this video here. It might just help. And there's more like this one on the channel too. Click on this yellow icon to subscribe and see the film of my painful ride across France when it's uploaded, along with 100 other films. Happy cycling, Happy New Year, and I'll see you soon.